Thousands of years ago, a shadow fell upon the earth. A shadow cast by beings both feared and revered in the ancient world. These entities towered over ordinary humans, both in stature and in legend, giants of old with divine and earthly blood coursing through their veins. Their origins believed to have been from heaven. There, they are described as the offspring of the sons of God and the daughters of men. These are the almighty and powerful giants known as the Nephilim, sons of God. For generations, humans have been telling stories, tales, and legends about creatures found all around the world. From the griffin to the chupacabra, and from the leviathan to the Chinese dragon. It's high time we set out an adventure to learn about them all. This is an expedition for the mythological. Welcome to Mytho Safari. The passage tells us the Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God went to the daughters of humans and had children by them. They were the heroes of old, men of renown. The term Nephilim comes from the Hebrew word nafal, meaning to fall or fallen ones. This name has been interpreted to refer not only to their giant stature, but also to their fallen nature, beings who had strayed from the divine order. The Nephilim were believed to have fallen both spiritually and physically, caught between earth and heaven, divine and mortal. Before we continue, subscribe and turn on notifications and join our channel. It goes a long way to support us in creating more content about fascinating mythical creatures and legends from around the world. And hey, become a member on our channel, because that's the best way to support us. The Nephilim's birth and existence represented a dangerous crossing of boundaries, a rupture between the mortal and divine worlds. Unlike typical giants from other myths, the Nephilim were not just physical anomalies. They were beings imbued with powers that extended into the spiritual realm, making them dangerous not only because of their size, but also due to their knowledge and abilities. The earliest and most famous reference to the Nephilim appears in the Hebrew Bible, specifically in the Book of Genesis or Bereshit, where their origins are tied to a divine mystery. The passage most often associated with Nephilim is Genesis 6:1-4. When human beings began to increase in number on earth and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of the humans were beautiful, and they married any of them they chose. Then the Lord said, "My spirit will not contend with humans forever, for they are mortal. Their days will be 120 years. The Nephilim were on earth in those days and also afterward, when the sons of God went to the daughters of humans and had children by them. They were the heroes of old, the men of renown." To begin to understand the Nephilim, we must first understand who the sons of God, Bnei HaElohim, were. The phrase is used in various contexts within the Hebrew Bible, but here it most likely refers to divine or heavenly beings, also known as angels, who descended to the earth and took human women as wives. This union between heavenly and earthly produced the Nephilim, a hybrid race whose coexistence was both extraordinary and dangerous. The term Elohim is a plural form in Hebrew, often used to refer to God or gods, indicating a higher or divine status for these beings. The sons of God are traditionally understood as fallen angels, beings who rebelled against God and descended to the mortal realm. However, other interpretations suggest that they may have been powerful rulers or kings who declared themselves as gods, intertwining with human women to consolidate their power. The word Nephilim itself is derived from the Hebrew word nafal, meaning to fall. This suggests that the Nephilim were not only giants, but also fallen beings in the spiritual sense, which aligns with the interpretation of them as the offspring of fallen angels. In this interpretation, they represent a departure from divine will and an unnatural mixture of the divine and mortal realms. But does this fall represent a literal fall from heaven or a metaphorical fall from grace? Some scholars believe that the Nephilim represent a kind of spiritual corruption. By mingling with humanity, the sons of God introduced chaos and moral decay, leading to the eventual judgment of the Great Flood. The Nephilim are described as heroes of old, men of renown, or giborim in Hebrew, a term that can also mean mighty ones or warriors. This has led to interpretations that these beings were not just literal giants, but also powerful leaders or warriors who left a lasting legacy in the ancient world. Some have speculated that they were revered or feared by ancient societies, much like how figures like Gilgamesh in Mesopotamian mythology or Hercules in Greek mythology were considered larger-than-life heroes or demigods. In essence, the term Giborim adds complexity to the identity of the Nephilim, which the literal interpretation suggests that they were giants in stature. Their significance could lie in their influence and reputation, legendary figures who dominated the ancient world with their might and prowess. In the biblical narrative, the Nephilim's presence on earth appears just before the account of Noah's flood. Their existence seems to be one of the primary reasons for the flood, as their union with human beings brought corruption and wickedness to humanity. Genesis 6:5-7 immediately follows the mention of the Nephilim with a description of humanity's increasing depravity. The Lord saw how great the wickedness of the human race had become on earth, and that every inclination of the thoughts of the human heart was only evil all the time. The Lord regretted that he had made human beings on earth, and his heart was deeply troubled. So the Lord said, I will wipe from the face of the earth the human race I have created, and with them the animals, the birds, and the creatures that move along the ground, for I regret that I have made them. The connection between the Nephilim and the flood is crucial. The flood is often interpreted as an act of divine judgment, not just against human sin, but also against the unnatural offspring of the union between the divine and human realms. The Nephilim represent a kind of cosmic trespass, a crossing of boundaries that led to a world of chaos and violence. The Book of Enoch is an ancient Jewish text that expands on the brief mention of the Nephilim in Genesis. In this book, the Nephilim are depicted as the children of angels known as Watchers or Irin, who descended to earth to instruct humanity in forbidden knowledge. The Watchers are depicted as angels who lust after human women, leading to their fall from grace. Enoch 7:1-2 gives a vivid description of the Nephilim's birth. And they became pregnant, and they bare great giants whose height was 3,000 ells, who consumed all the acquisitions of men, and who could no longer sustain them. The giants turned against them and devoured mankind. An ell is explained by the Jewish rabbis as being an equivalent to a cubit, which is an ancient Hebrew measurement measuring the distance from elbow to tip of the finger. Here, the Nephilim are not just giants in size, but also giants in their appetites, both literally and metaphorically. Their hunger for dominance and destruction led them to consume humanity, sparking violence and chaos on a global scale. The Book of Enoch also emphasizes their role in teaching humanity forbidden arts, such as warfare, weaponry, and sorcery, further increasing the corruption of the human race. The flood is then portrayed as a necessary act of purification, a way to rid the earth of the Nephilim and their corrupting influence. According to the Book of Enoch, the fallen angels and their offspring were imprisoned in a subterranean realm, awaiting final judgment at the end of time. The Christians take a different look at this. Christianity inherited much of its understanding of the Nephilim from Judaism, but added its unique interpretation. Early Christian theologians such as St. Augustine and Thomas Aquinas debated the nature of the Nephilim and the sons of God mentioned in Genesis. Were these beings literal angels, or could they represent something else, such as a powerful human ruler? One of the key ideas in Christian theology is the fall of Satan and his angels, a rebellion against God that resulted in their expulsion from heaven. In this view, the Nephilim are often associated with the fallen angels. This interpretation is also heavily influenced by passages like Revelation 12:9, which describes the fall of Satan and his followers. The great dragon was hurled down, the ancient serpent called the devil or Satan, who leads the whole world astray. He was hurled to the earth and his angels with him. For many early Christian thinkers, the Nephilim represented the physical manifestation of this cosmic rebellion. They were not merely giants, but the offspring of angelic transgressors, who thought to corrupt God's creation by intermingling with humans. St. Augustine, in his work, The City of God, argued that the Nephilim were the children of fallen angels, whose presence on earth contributed to the increasing wickedness of humanity before the flood. In Islamic tradition, Nephilim are not clearly identified, but they are akin to a creature we'll be talking about in the future, known as the supernatural jinn. The jinn, like the Nephilim, are considered to be both material and spiritual beings, living in a parallel world alongside humanity. The Quran describes the jinn as beings created from smokeless fire, distinct from both angels and humans. They were endowed with free will, capable of both good and evil. Some jinn follow the path of righteousness, while others, like Iblis, the Islamic equivalent of Satan, rebel against God and seek to lead humans astray. We'll have a full video on jinn in the very near future. The Nephilim continue to captivate the modern imagination. Authors such as J.R.R. Tolkien and George R.R. Martin have incorporated Nephilim-like figures into their narratives. In Tolkien's Middle-earth, the Maiar, beings who serve the gods but occasionally rebel, bear a strong resemblance to the Watchers of the Book of Enoch. In A Song of Ice and Fire, George R.R. Martin presents figures like the White Walkers and giants who embody a primal, otherworldly force that threatens the established order. Films such as Noah in 2014, directed by Darren Aronofsky, also explore the Nephilim's myth. In this adaptation, the Nephilim are depicted as stone giants, fallen angels who once walked the earth and now seek redemption by helping Noah in his quest to build the ark. The Nephilim are more than just characters in ancient texts. They embody the tensions and questions that have shaped human belief for thousands of years. Are they symbols of human pride, punished by divine retribution, or are they tragic figures caught between two worlds, unable to fully belong to either? From what we know, they predate the Hebrews and predate Judaism, but are heavily rooted in a lot of the early Abrahamic faiths, pushing their legend from the Jewish faith, from Am Yisrael, into the Christian faith, and then furthermore adapted or inspired by in Islam. As we continue to explore the mystery of the Nephilim and their place in history, their legacy reminds us of the boundaries between the known and the unknown, and the internal struggle between light and darkness. Join us on this journey through mythology, religion, and history as we continue to explore the creatures that dwell in the dark corners of human consciousness. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment below if there are any other fascinating beings you'd like us to cover in a future exploration. And we'll see you guys on the next safari. Goodbye.